Hello, it's Clint and Stacy, and welcome to our first, actually a couple of things, our first video on YouTube that doesn't have anything to do with work, and also our first YouTube video with regards to our RV, and specifically our solar system. So, this is part 0.5, and welcome to our RV.
What is all of this?
This actually is not our RV. Obviously, this is our basement. The reason that I have all this stuff stacked down here right now is because the RV that we are planning to put this in does actually not exist in our driveway yet. We're actually leaving today to go and pick it up and bring it home. But during the time that we've been waiting to go and get the RV or fifth wheel, we've been designing the solar system that is meant to go into it. So we're not strangers to solar. We've had solar in trailers before, and I've worked with solar before. This is by far going to be the biggest system that we've made. In the past, we've had solar systems that'll run the microwave and all the different things and stuff, but fell short at the air conditioner. So part of the challenge in my mind this time around was to make a system that was large enough that would be able to run an air conditioner and have it be feasible. So part of the equation to that is the batteries themselves, and then also we have the inverter, which is here. So this particular inverter is made by SunGold Power, and it operates at 24 volts, which is not the voltage that a fifth wheel uses, which is obviously 12 volts, or maybe not obviously if you didn't know that. And so what this is going to do is it's going to make it so that I can use lighter gauge wire, first of all, to run the amount of current through them to make all this stuff work. Air conditioners draw a lot of amps.
How many amps does an air conditioner?
I'm guessing because I know that our last inverter was 2,500 watts and had a surge capacity of roughly double that. And that was not enough to start the air conditioner as it was.
Okay.
Now, that being said, we could have installed a soft start on that air conditioner and probably would have worked. But we don't have that travel trailer anymore because we've decided to go with a much larger fifth wheel this time. So that was part of the idea with choosing this inverter, is that because this inverter doesn't run on MOSFETs, it uses transformers, the surge capacity of this is actually triple.
Oh, wow.
So given that it's a 3,000 watt inverter, it can take temporary spikes of up to 9,000 watts, which should be more than enough to start an air conditioner without a soft start. The RV dealer has told me that they believe that the Furrion air conditioners come with a soft start capacity in them already. So we should maybe even be in better shape than we were the last time. So the inverter I have tested with these two 1600 watt heater fans. I've had them both plugged into it just through the regular connections. When we actually do install this, we're going to hardwire them in through here, which actually gives you even more amperage at any given time. But both of those fans connected to the GFI here with the inverter off and then just randomly turning it on. Both of these heater fans with the locked amps in them to get the fan going and the heater started spiked up to, I don't know, it was like 5,000 watts or something like that. And the light on the inverter does come on that it's over current, but it ran it just fine, and it was only for a couple of seconds, and then it carried on, and it was perfectly happy with that. So that was actually 3,200 watts continuously, which is actually technically more than what this inverter says that it can do at 3,000. So the batteries there's 6 of them. They're kind of unique because they're 150 amp hours a piece. Typically when you get the more drop-in style ones, they're 100 amp hours, and then they sometimes make sort of larger sized ones that are up to, I think, 300 300 amp hours, maybe even 400 now. I didn't do that because of the 24 volts. So they are 12 volt batteries. The inverter is not, it's 24 volts. So we'll wire them in 3 banks of series connected batteries. So effectively we're making 3 batteries out of the 6. I'm really happy that we were able to sort of start testing this in the basement, because there was a few things that I came across that I wasn't anticipating, that would have been a lot more of a pain in the butt to try and figure out once it was all installed on the RV. And the biggest thing was just getting these batteries to balance into each other. So when you get them, they're all kind of all over the map. I did test the voltages on them independently and knew that. But with lead acid batteries, which is what we've used in the past, these are lithium iron phosphate batteries now. You just can connect all those batteries in parallel, which is connecting all of these red ones together, and then all of the black ones together. So you end up having one giant battery that still is at the 12 volts. On a lead acid system, that works fine, and the batteries sort of trade between each other until they finally equalize at one constant amount. So then when you take it apart, you can test all these batteries again, and they'll all be the same instead of all over the map. So I don't know if all lithium iron phosphate batteries are like this, but these ones seem to be, where when I attempted to do that, if you put a voltmeter on it and test the positive lead on the beginning of the string and the negative lead on the end of the string, it takes an average. It doesn't actually tell you that there's still differences there. So when I took it all apart after it had been sitting like that for a day, they were still all over the place. And the only thing that I can come up with for that is that each of these batteries has got a BMS in it that monitors the even smaller batteries that are inside here. And I think that if the batteries are too different from each other, there's something within these internal BMSs that doesn't allow them to talk to each other anymore. So to get around this, I charged them all up independently and got them so that they were a lot closer in voltage than how they started out, and then connected them together, and it allowed it to balance out to a constant voltage, which as of this morning now, with about a week of messing around, works out to 13.52. So now it doesn't matter which one I choose, they're all basically within
0.2 or whatever.
These. I just took these apart, so a couple of them have rested slightly longer than the others for the amount of time that it took for me to get them apart. But basically, they're all within about 13.53, which isn't fully charged status, but it's good enough to start with. Now, the second thing that I found out when I got them actually balanced the first time was that this is a charger as well. So the idea with this is that I'm going to run an outlet, like a generator plug for this, so that we can either plug this into our utility pole, if we have one at the campsite that we're at, or we can just plug a generator into this, and then this will now charge these batteries if the solar isn't keeping up to the job. And that is at 24 volts. So I attempted to finish charging these the first time with this, and had them connected in series then. So that's now you're connecting your negative to the positive on each one of these pairs, and then connecting the 3 negatives across here together, and then the 3 positives across here together, giving you now 3 24 volt batteries. What I wasn't anticipating, and I don't really know why this happens, is that within a couple of days of doing test loads on these 3, well actually it was only 2 at the I took them apart to rebalance in these other two that we decided to add in, and discovered that these two batteries in this 24 volt bank and these two batteries in this 24 volt bank had drifted apart. So basically what was happening is that this battery, or maybe it was this battery or whatever, one of them was about 0.3 volts off compared to this, and they were both about the same. So I don't know why that is. I have, when they were connected as a unit, I had the inverter connected to the negative here and the positive here, so that it was actually pulling from this entire thing as a unit, which is what you're supposed to do. But for some reason, these batteries were drifting away from each other. So I know the BMSs in these use a little bit of power themselves. So I don't know if the reason for that is because there's more calculations going on in the ones that the actual inverter is connected to versus the one that's not. So the way around this is Victron makes something that is for that specific problem, and it should be here on Monday. And when it is here, then I can make another video and we'll show you how it works. But what it does is it connects to the positive of the outside bank, then the negative of the last one, and then there's one cable that goes to any of the series connected connections as well. And what it does is it's constantly comparing the voltage on this half of your 24 volt battery to this half of it. And if it detects that there's a difference there, then what it does is through those three connectors that are coming out of the battery balancer is it'll bleed some amps off into the other one until they match again. It's important that they do, because if they don't match over time, what's going to happen is you're going to constantly be charging these batteries at the rate of the weakest link, and that's going to cause the whole system to fail prematurely. I also don't know how long that continues for. I noticed this after 2 or 3 days. If we had this on our RV for a couple of months, I mean, does that get worse? Does it stay about the same? I don't know. It's hard to say, but even at where it was my opinion that we needed to come up with something that kept these synchronized to each other properly. So that's basically it in a nutshell for as far as we are so far. Once we have the RV in our driveway, then I can start with solar install, like legitimately part 1 instead of part 0.5, which is this. And we can start sizing up, because at the moment I don't know where we're going to put things. It's like, haven't even seen the RV in, I don't know, the better part of 4 or 5 months. So I kind of have an idea, but it's going to take a lot of measuring and figuring out how this is all going to fit and where things are going to go. But we can make a new video to follow along the steps of that. And then finally at the end, the exciting part for me will be to see if we can run our air conditioner, and if so, for how long. This particular bank at 24 volts is about 450 amp hours. Before I brought these other two in, these two 1600 watt each heater fans were, according to the shunt, were going to run full blast for about 2.5 hours. Now, I highly doubt that an air conditioner is going to pull on a constant anywhere near that kind of power. Certainly not one air conditioner anyways, maybe both will occasionally. But it's my thinking that with the 6, if these are fully charged, that we should be able to run the air conditioner completely off grid for maybe an hour or 2 without sacrificing too much of our day-to-day normal things that we do. And the solar panels should still be able to keep up to that. So we'll see. Catch you on the next one.